Hey guys, Wagon here and welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to be looking at two of possibly the greatest armies of all time in science fiction. We're going to be looking at the Galactic Empire and we're going to be putting them up against Halo's aliens, the Coven. This is going to be a fight to almost the death. If they retreat, then it's sort of their fault because it's pretty much ruining it. But anyway, there's no Halo rings or no Death Star, as that's just going to make this battle a bit too one-sided. So if the Death Star could just blow up the planet, or the Halos could just kill everything, it's just going to make that a bit too one-sided. And no Sith Lords for this as well, because if Darth Vader or anything could just come in and just annihilate the entire Covenant thing, and the Emperor, sorry about that, could just simply just electrocute and kill quite a lot of troops. So, with that all said, let's get into this. Starting us off, we have the Galactic Empire. The Galactic Empire, also known as the First Galactic Empire, or the New Order, and commonly referred to as the Empire or the Order, was the galactic constitutional monarchy and fascist government that replaced the Galactic Republic in the aftermath of the Clone Wars. In its fractured state, imperial holdouts were referred to as imperial remnants. In the decades that followed the imperial government's dissolution, it was remembered as the Old Empire. Rising to power in the final years of the Republic, the Sith Lord Darth Sidious gradually secured the government under his control, through the persona of Sheev Palpatine, the last Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. Through his machinations, as both Sidious and Palpatine, the Sith were restored to a position of dominance amidst the fall of the Jedi Order, and the marginalization of the Galactic Senate. Without the Jedi Guardians of Peace and Justice to oppose him, Sidious brought an end to 1,000 years of democracy. In its place, he installed the absolute rule of himself as Galactic Emperor. For over 2 decades, opposition for the imperial regime was ruthlessly suppressed by the rapidly expanding armed forces of the Empire. Throughout most of the Empire's existence, the Imperial Senate stood within the Empire as the last surviving symbol of the Republic. With the completion of the Death Star, the Emperor felt confident enough to dissolve the body of galactic representatives while maintaining his control over the galaxy, through a collective of sector governors and the overall fear the new battle station would inspire. However, the growing resentment to imperial rule gradually led to the rise of various resistance movements that ultimately accumulated in the formation of the Alliance to restore the Republic. United by a common goal, the Alliance became a viable threat to the Empire after a successful theft of the Death Star plans, and the station's subsequent destruction at the Battle of Yavin. Throughout the Galactic Civil War, Imperial and Alliance forces fought across the galaxy in a conflict that accumulated in the deaths of Darth Sidious and his apprentice Darth Vader at the end of the Battle of Endor in 4 ABY. With the Sith extinct, the Grand Vizier of the Imperial Ruling Council, Mas Amedeo, effectively succeeded Palpatine as Emperor in all but name, and held limited power beyond Coruscant, as the Empire fully evolved into a stratocracy dominated by military officers. It was during this time when the Empire split into a variety of separate factions, dominated by various warlords, moths, and admirals, while the loyalist imperial government remained on Coruscant. However, as the shattered forces of the Empire struggled to maintain their war effort against the rising monumentum of the newly formed New Republic, the power of the Menda and the centralized government faded with the rise of Fleet Admiral Gallius Rax, a warlord who controlled the largest faction of the Imperial Navy. Within a year of Palpatine's demise, the Empire, now led by the Emperor, in effect Rax under the position of counselor to the Emperor, made its final stands on the desert world of Jakku, and suffered a decisive defeat after Rax's death, consequently resulting in its capitulation to the Republic through the signing of the Galactic Concordance in 5 ABY, which led to the eventual dissolution of the imperial government. Sorry about that. What remained of the oldest establishment and the remnants of the Imperial Navy relocated to the core and inner rim, forced to remain within the borders of a recognized remnant that was forced to agree to the stipulations. The central government on Coruscant that was overseen by Grand Vizier Mas Amedeo was also reorganized into a provisional administration that held little power. Yet despite its fall, the Empire's legacy endured for decades in the unknown regions, where imperial officers plotted their revenge against the Republic. Driven by the goal of returning to power, some elements of the imperial remnant in the unknown regions evolved into the First Order, a military junta inspired by the ideals of the Empire. The Imperial Army had its own infantry distinct from the stormtroopers. These troopers were made up of a mixture of conscripts and enlistees, and used to garrison planets. They were generally less committed to remaining loyal to the Empire than the stormtroopers. The Imperial Army also had Imperial combat drivers who operated its vehicles. Imperial Army officers wore identical uniforms to their naval counterparts. However, when on the field, they would sometimes wear a field-grade chestplate similar to design to those worn by snowtroopers. They also wear helmets similar to those worn by ATST drivers. The Covenant is an alliance of alien species founded by the San Shiam prophets and the San Hili elites, in the hopes of securing more knowledge of their gods, the Forerunners. Over time, the Covenant have been added several species which have acted as fully integrated members within the Empire. These include the Lekgolo, hunters, the Yanmas, drones, Kigya, jackals and skirmishers, and the Ungoi, grunts, and the Jurlhan'a, brutes. Sorry for that horrible pronunciation there. Central to the Covenant's ultimate goal was the discovery of Halo, an array of incredible and ancient ring worlds which, when activated, was believed to be a means of divine sublimation. In reality, the Halo array was eventually revealed to be a weapon of mass destruction. For long periods of time, the Covenant scored the galaxy for Halo, finding many lost Forerunner installations and relics along the way. However, when they encountered humans, they began finding cracks in their theological moorings. The discovery of humanity threatened the nature of the Covenant at such a foundational level that the San Shiam declared humanity a disease and they must be cleansed, and embarked on an attempt to wipe out the species from the galaxy. Although the Covenant's primary homeworld, the holy city of High Charity, was enormous, fully mobile, and even capable of slip-space travel, the Alliance utilized many sites as anchors of military, political, and utilitarian domain. At the base, this included the worlds and colonies of each species it had subsumed. It will also grow to include new worlds and even Forerunner installations. The Covenant, as an empire, dominated much of the galaxy. Throughout, they would generally leave a world untouched unless it offered particular treasures, whether practical or religious. Apart from High Charity, the primary Covenant worlds were military bases created by the San Hili, some of which included Sapron Cal, Joyous Exaltation, and Molia Rock, Decided Heart. It is believed that the Sapron Cal was destroyed during the Great Schism, and while the status of Molia Rock is unknown. High Charity, after its fall to the Flood during the Great Schism, was crushed under the surface of the Ark during the final battle of the Human Covenant War. The Covenant was founded as a theocracy with the San Shiam at the head. The San Hili maintained a subservient yet equal standing role as both shared in the founding of the Alliance, exclusively governing the affairs of the military. The San Shiam dominated the political arena with a three-person triumvirate of high prophets throughout the High Council, which held several hundred individuals, including both San Shiam and San Hili, giving each founding species some standing in the governance goals. The High Prophets ultimately dictated these ends. The Covenant military was originally conceived as a means to establish dominance in the galaxy by way of force, but primarily at the goal of acquiring Forerunner technology and pressing forward towards the hopes of divinity. The Covenant military was vast, and its power and presence were easily the largest and most dominant single element of the Alliance. This fact, combined with the San Hili's virtually complete control of the military, eventually led to friction and distrust by the San Shiam, seeking to overthrow them. The triumvirate of San Shiam hierarchies turned against the San Hili, secretly armed with empowering the Jurlhan'a brutes to take control. This worked, but for a short time, before forcing many of the San Hili to ally with humans and bring an end to the Covenant as it was altogether. In the aftermath of the war, many San Hili disagreed with the view that an alliance with the humans was beneficial. This fracture led to numerous civil wars on San Helios, but it also led to the formation of a new covenant. This new covenant is almost entirely military in nature and lacks the unified cohesion of its long-standing predecessor. Though they might have well-equipped, San Hili can never be underestimated. The official language of the Covenant is an advanced dialect of San Hili. It is spoken by all species within the Covenant and for many has replaced their native language after the events of the war. The architecture of the Covenant, through some loose connections with the San Hili, was predominantly San Shiam in nature and design. Even the military vehicles were based almost entirely on Sanshyam's structurally aesthetics early on, informing much of the Sanheli's designs in the years to follow. Although several of the Covenant species had achieved some measure of the technological advancement of their own, the Alliance's recovery and analysis of Forerunner machines had been the key to realizing the vast majority of technology they used. Much of their advancements were yielded from the Forerunner dreadnought that the Sanshyam had recovered from their own world. Though countless Forerunner sites and relics provided substantial progress in the centuries before the Covenant's collapse, these improvements included translight travel and communication. The manipulation of extremely high volumes of plasma energy through recycling detritus from sublight travel, the control and usage of hard light short range and teleportation of matter, and the deft influence over gravity and repulsor-based technologies, among other things. And now, moving on to the final verdict. This is the final verdict of the biggest who would win battle I've ever done as today. And the winner overall, this is going to be a two-part thing. So there's going to be the ship battles, and then there's going to be ground battles. And the overall winner is the Covenant, and here's why. They have much better ground supports because ghosts can easily kill AT-ATs like they do in The Empire Strikes Back with wrapping wires around their feet and then they just fall down, done, dead. And they also have better weaponry with energy swords and plasma weapons. And plasma weapons have also been known, especially in Halo 4. An example of this is that they can disrupt vehicles and stuff and easily take them out. And disrupt them and everything like that, so they can't be used. And energy swords, if a stormtrooper went and tried to pick them up or something like that, they wouldn't really be able to do much like that. So there's going to be, so they can't pick them up because they've got based on the Covenant's hands, because they have two thumbs or something like that. I don't know. The elites are weird, and the grunts are also happy to die. And upon doing so, they use plasma grenades, which blow up and they kill a lot of people. And are the deadliest grenade in Halo, arguably the deadliest grenade. The elites also have the ability to cloak, so they can easily go up and cloak and annihilate a whole couple squadrons of stormtroopers and stuff like that. And the only really threat they would have is the Imperial Royal Guard, but I think that they should be able to handle them in groups and numbers because they have the numbers. And we don't actually know what the Covenant has in numbers. They could have millions, billions, trillions, for all we know. And they also have an advanced personal shielding that most of the Covenant have, and the Jackals are also known to have this, and they're incredibly good snipers, and because of this they have enhanced snipers and have been known to take out whole entire waves of infantry by themselves. The Arbiter is also encountered as an elite, and the Arbiter is pretty much the same, so it's not like Darth Vader, Darth Sidious. It's pretty much just more highly trained elite than others, so he's a lot better than them, so he can still be used in this, and it'll come in very handy in this battle. And they can also hold their own against the Flood, and the closest thing to this is the Clone Troopers, which makes it up about 1 to 5% of the Imperial Army. Was close to getting nearly got their entire ranks infected by Geonosian diseases, and it killed an entire ship of them. So that's the closest thing to the Flood in the Star Wars universe. And Brutes have immense strength, and with them including that with gravity hammers and brute shots makes them even better and even much more highly sophisticated. And warriors, the warriors are just amazing like that. And Brutes also have the armor, but then immense durability without the armor, then put on even more durability. And drones can fly and have better accuracy than jetpack troopers do, and can do it better. And how the Covenant wins with the Navy. The Covenant Navy has guided plasma torpedoes that can easily take down the shields in a couple hits. For that, and then they can easily destroy ships. And they also have sniper class ships. It's just this ship that does it, that specifies in sniping, and this can fire at light speed, and not even the best part in the galaxy can deflect that. Not Han Solo, not Luke Skywalker, not Darth Vader, no one can even beat that. And they can also hold huge waves of fire, and their shields have even been able to take nukes. So Hiroshima's bomb was pretty small compared to modern day nukes, and times that in 500 years time, that's a really, really big nuke, and the Covenant Navy can easily go out of them without a scratch because of the shields that they have. And they can also quite easily counter TIE fighters with lots of different vehicles, such as Banshee and the Seraph, which are pretty. And if you're wondering, Banshees can fly in space. Halo 4 is an example for this once again. And they also have really good defense and offense in slip space as well, so that if it goes into slip space, that they have the edge on the Empire with that as well. And the Covenant's tactics in Navy are also very good. They usually send one ship forward, fire a little bit, then go backwards, and then that means it gives the Imperial fleet time to attack, which then the whole entire Covenant fleet would then be able to go in and then crush them like that. And there's not many weaknesses from the outside of the ships, and if they do get on the outside, there's a whole army waiting in there to kill them. If they do get inside, and also with the drop ships, once the shields are down, put the ships in, get a drop ship in there, put that in, get that down, and shut down the ship like that way. And that is how the Covenant would win in this battle. Hope you guys did like this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, because this video did take a lot of time to make. It is the longest who would win to date. It took an extreme amount of effort, and I was combined with a couple people. Fashion Astral Assassin helped me out with making this video. Link to their channels in the description below. Big thanks to them, and with all that said, I'll see you guys next video. Bye.